Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I am your host, Adam Cousins, and we are in NWA mode. Yes, the Crockett Cup night 1 was last night, and it's night 2 tonight, but obviously we've got to only review one night because the second night hasn't happened yet. But of course, it wouldn't be the NWA, it wouldn't be a Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast without our NWA queen, Fiona. Good evening.
Good evening. How are we?
I'm all right. Just come back from a great show at Jurassic Pro Wrestling. It still seems like Scotland's got sun. It's unusual.
It's been beautiful all weekend. We've had gala shows this weekend and stuff, so lots of fun, lots of sunshine, lots of sun fun.
And lots of wrestling last night.
Loads of wrestling. I am so tired tonight.
Yeah, they certainly started as they mean to go on. That's for sure. So for everyone that doesn't know, the Crockett Cup Night 1 has kind of 3 elements to it. They do some of the sort of last qualifiers / first round on the fan fest, and then they start it on the pre-show, and then it continues into the main show. And the main show won't just have the Crockett Cup; they will have a couple of other matches squashed in between. For example, EC3 was one of those matches that we'll get onto very shortly. But we'll start at the very top. We'll just quickly run through the fan fest dark matches. There was Crockett Cup first round with Dak Draper and Big Strong Mims, and they defeated Rush Freeman and Bradley Pierce. Bradley right. Pierce, and they'll move towards Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch in the second round. So that is a formidable pair. I saw Knox and Murdoch on Power. My word, they're 2 fridges, aren't they?
I think they're my pick. To be honest with you, really? I really think they're my pick. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. That is very interesting. And obviously, just for the seed purpose, Dak Draper and Big Strong Mims were 14 seeds at this point, and they were defeated the 19th seed. So no real surprise if you take it on seed standards. I take it, Fiona.
Yeah. No, not really. Not with that one. They were fairly close. It's when you start having the kind of higher seeds versus the lower seeds, and there is, as you'll see as we go on, there has been a couple of really major upsets as the first night went on. So yeah, it was an interesting evening of wrestling for sure.
Certainly was. We'll get on quick now with there was a Crockett Cup qualifier also. This was the Outrunners, Daisy Kill and Talos.
Plunkett and Eric Jackson,
Plunky, our good mate Plunky, and our other good friends Sal and Gaz. Gaz the Gimp.
Gaz the Gimp. Yeah.
So the eliminations happened. It come down to Plunkett and Jackson. Before we get on, we hope that Sal's okay. We don't know the full extent, but it looked like an injury there to Sal. Sal, if you do watch this, we wish you well. Hopefully it's not serious and you'll be back in action soon. It looks nasty, I have to admit, but hopefully you, Sal, anyway, and just a good safe recovery for you, whatever's happened there, Sal, and
we love you, Sal.
we do indeed. But it come down to our good friend Plunky and Jackson, the Outrunners. There was a point there where Plunky hit a double DDT, and they kind of run back and forth for some corner attacks. But Turbo Floyd was able to chop block Plunky, and then the Outrunners seized that moment for a power slam net breaker on Jackson. And then the Outrunners earned seed 24. Now, remind me, how many seeds are there in the Crockett Cup in total?
24 in total.
So they are the final seed.
The final seed. That was for the final slot.
That was for
the only slot that was open. Everything else had all been they'd all had qualifiers or already been seeded. So.
And now you know why I have an NWE queen to make sure that I'm right with this stuff. So they were the 24 seeds. So in a seed stand, the bottom of the table, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because you'll find out shortly. Anyway, the last match on the Fan Fest was Judias and Max the Impaler. They were seed 15 and they defeated seed 18 Hal Collins and Vic. Can you pronounce his last name, please?
Delicious.
It was delicious. It's just a different way of spelling.
Yeah.
Really? I was hoping it was, but you know, I have trouble with like names. If you ever watch my podcast with my friend colleague Dave that we do with the AEW one, I can't pronounce a Japanese guy on there, and his last name is Take Shitter. So it's difficult for me to pronounce the Japanese version, which he does.
It's Vic Delicious.
There you go. It's Vic Delicious. Brilliant. So the end of this match, Judias chokeslammed Collins to win. And now, interestingly enough, they go to take on my pick, actually, for the Crockett Cup, which is the two guys that are technically, in a way, they're kind of going, well, one of them is the £10 of gold holder, which is Tyrus, and the other one is Chris Adonis, who, you know, they're kind of together. They've got this mutual understanding, but there is the thing called the £10 of gold.
They're not an established tag team.
They're not.
For me. It's two people that have been thrown together for a cause. So for me, I suppose Knox and Murdoch are kind of the same as well. They're not a long established team. Interesting, definitely interesting.
Yeah, I just think that £10 of gold may end up coming in between those two. Maybe they're my pick to win, but where am I picking? Now that was the fan fest. We moved on to the pre-show. The first match of this was seed 16, Flip Gordon and Fodder, and they took on Dan Math and Sean Donovan. Majority of the way through, there was a hot tag to Gordon. Flip hit a flying drop kick to knock Powerhouse Mick off the ring. Gordon landed a springboard moonsault to pin Donovan, and they have the unenviable task now, Fee, of
taking on my world tag team champions, Lara Bellion. Also my boys.
also, hey, listen, Plunky, that had nothing to do with me. That was her words. I didn't say anything. Yeah, I mean, when you go against seed 1, you know, if you want to do a different terminology, it's like you're a League One side, or you draw on a Premier League side in the cup or something along those lines. That's the thing. One you wanted to avoid, really, and unfortunately, Flip and Fodder went through to Flip Gordon and Fodder went through to that unenviable task. The next round was another one of our fave, well, especially my fave after the other week, Jack Dane. And Blake Troop, they come across TNT, which is the sons of Devon Dudley. TNT, they had a lot of momentum in this match, actually, from what I saw. They called for the 3D to honour Devon. Good old Silvio distracted that referee to miss that legal tag. And when the referee tried to escort one of them out of the ring, Dane tried to clothesline, and they applied the figure forward leg lock, and SVGS go on.
Savages.
Yeah, they go on to seed 4, which is the ones that he wanted to avoid, if I remember on the podcast.
So that's Octagon Junior and Mistez's Junior as well. So that's one of the AAA teams. There's 2 AAA teams in the cup this year, so that's one of the AAA teams. So
and definitely one he wanted to avoid.
A tasty one lined up as well.
It is. Now, there was another match on this card. There was a couple more matches on the pre-show. Next one was the Clowns, seed 21, and they took on seeds 12, which was Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky. Yes, got it right. Christ. They attacked the Clowns before the bell even started.
Now, straight into the kill.
Literally straight in for the kill. Now, I think here there was an injury to Bradley. He was leaping over Ruffo. It looked like he may have tweaked his knee. I don't know if it had an outcome in the match or not. But basically, the Ruffo the Clowns secured the crucifix pin for the first upset in seed terms, because the Clowns are 21. They took on the seed 12s. So I don't know if the injury have played it, if it's an injury that they've had to kind of hurry the match along.
I have absolutely no idea, to be honest with you. I don't really remember seeing too much about it at the time. Okay. So I'm not sure how much that'll have affected the fixers in terms of their performance. I guess if we knew exactly what had happened to Jay, maybe a bit more, we'd be able to tell a bit more. But not gonna lie, as you'll find out as the show went on, Yabo and Ruffo, surprising.
Yeah, very surprising.
See that.
Indeed. And they got drawn against one of the top 5 teams, which was Tom Latimer and Rhett Titus, who they will take on in the second round of the Cup, which is actually on the show later. So we'll be able to get to that a little bit later on. The next match was Toxin and Arez versus the Heat Seekers.
Yeah.
And they kind of tried to line up their finishing combo on Arez, but Sigmund missed a flying headbutt.
Yeah.
These are guys, and again, the Tricks and Arez were another AAA side.
Yeah.
And as usual, AAAs, they fly around the ring and do all sorts of stuff. Basically,
they looked phenomenal last night. They looked. I've never seen them before. Unlike Mestez's and Octagon Junior, I have seen some of their stuff, but Toxin and Arez I've never seen before. Thought they looked phenomenal. Loved their gear. Loved their headgear, their masks and everything. Yeah, I thought they were great last night. I'm a big fan of the Heat Seekers though, but unfortunately, obviously, the Heat Seekers did not come out victorious last night.
They did not. There was a Bridging Northern Light suplex for the win. That got that win, and basically Arez and Toxin advanced to the father-son pairing. Seed 6, Ricky and Kerry Morton. Wow, Ricky Morton still going strong in wrestling.
I know.
Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Just for the seed purposes, the Toxin Arez was seed 11. The Heat Seekers were 22. So that's fine. And they go on. Ricky and Kerry Morton, seed 6. Anything with Ricky Morton, I love Ricky Morton. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes up a bit later on today. Sorry, a bit later on. We get into the next round, and maybe later on today as well, when night 2. Again, first round match, seed 10, Kratos and Odison.
Yep. Versus Magic Jake and Brian Brock.
Indeed. There was one point that Kratos set up the KTG, on Brock. Dumas saved it. Odison tackled him literally to oblivion. Kratos was free for the full Nelson DDT, and the Immortals, as they're called, go on to wrestle another one of our good friends, Seed 7, Anthony Andrews, and our good buddy from the other week who's driving to Disney, AJ Kazana.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, that's a close lineup. That's Kratos and Odinson is 10 and the Country Gentleman 7. So that's a fairly close lineup as well.
It is. The seeds are getting really quite early as well, Fee, really. Only second round, and you're getting some of these top seeds meeting really early. It's going to really pose for an interesting one.
What happened, the first 7 seeds got an automatic buy into the second round. So, which means obviously the lower seeds are going to meet some of the higher seeds in this round, so it could be really interesting. There's some definitely last night, and as we'll find out as we go on, there was some really tasty matches last night as the second rounds progressed. So
there certainly was. The last match on the pre-show was the 24 seed Outrunners. And they took on Scion and Jordan Clearwater, who were seed 9. Now again, from a seed perspective, you would have thought Scion and Jordan Clearwater would win this match, but there was a masked man that pulled Scion off the apron.
Yeah.
And Outrunners finished the job. Yeah. No idea either. Power slam, net breaker. Weird though, Austin Idol was standing by while his son was getting
and just kind of watched it all happen and unfold, and didn't really. He wasn't his usual self last night. He's normally quite vocal and quite. So that's interesting. Really interesting.
And again, seeing Austin Idol in wrestling in 2023, amazing, absolutely amazing. But anyway, the Outrunners seed 24 move on to take seed 8 and another seed that you really probably didn't want to face, which is Blunt Force Trauma.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, we're now moving on to the pay-per-view itself, and that is the first match of the pay-per-view when it starts. Blunt Force Trauma against the Outrunners. There were basically Blunt Force Trauma advanced. They finished off Turbo with a double team flatliner.
They did.
That match. Was that solid? Was that a solid match, Fiona, from your perspective? What you saw?
I thought it was. I think Blunt Force Trauma are a pretty solid tag team in all fairness, and with Aaron Stevens in their corner, kind of manage them. I think they're quite a formidable tag team.
They certainly seem that way.
Yeah, definitely. I would have been very, very surprised if the Outrunners had gone over on that one and actually beat them. So, yeah, that. To be fair, I think most of the matches last night were solid, but yeah, that one was absolutely solid.
Yes, definitely so. Moving straight on, second round. Now, seed 10 and seed 7. This was Kratos and Odison versus the Country Gentlemen. And now again, the Country Gentlemen are the NWA US Tag Team Champions.
They are indeed.
But they are eliminated.
Yeah, that one caught me off guard. I was expecting to see them go through, but I have also had the pleasure of witnessing Kratos and Odinson wrestle before last year and at the TV tapings and various bits and pieces. They are incredible. And in the first match, even in the first round match, you will have seen Odinson using Kratos as a weapon and literally just picking him up and launching him. Much to Kratos' amusement, it was just I popped sitting at him, watching him laughing in the middle of the ring when he realised what had actually happened to him. But they are formidable. They are solid. Kratos' little speech at the end, just I was like, you know, you're good. Yeah, I didn't expect them to beat the Gentlemen though. That was my first surprise in the night last night. But I like Kratos and Odinson, so well done to them. I'm looking forward to seeing what lies ahead for them and then in the next bracket, basically.
Exactly, and just so you know, Fiona does have the bracket, so we will be able to discuss that at the end of this, so we know what's going to happen tonight in terms of bracket wise. But yes, Kratos and Odinson did get through KTG DDT to pin Anthony Andrews. The Country Gentlemen are out. Now, the next match was the first match that wasn't a part of the Crockett Cup, essentially. This was a heavyweight scramble, right? So this was a match to enter the junior heavyweight scramble
tonight. Yeah, so there's a 4-way. I don't know how many are in it actually, but there's a junior heavyweight scramble tonight to become the #1 contender for the junior heavyweight championship.
Which is
this match was for the final. This match was for the final spot in the scramble.
And it was Joe Alonso versus Alex Taylor. Now, it did look like Taylor was looking like. Sorry, I get my words out. It looked like Alex Taylor had a tender shoulder or something wrong with his shoulder.
So Alex picked up an injury when NWA were out in Australia. So he's still kind of nursing that and still coming back to health. I'm not sure what the current situation is with it, but I know that he's still struggling somewhat with it, which is why he was fairly heavily taped up last night.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
So it's not a new injury. He did pick up fairly early on in the Australian tour as well, so he had to sit a lot out, unfortunately, while he was out there, which is the same.
What a shame, because obviously they went to Australia. It was great to get more eyes on the prize with Billy and the Smashing Pumpkins, which would have been a great experience. If anything else, but again, getting more eyes on the NWA, which is what we all need, and we all need more eyes on the NWA product. So hopefully his shoulder gets a bit better. Anyway, he was on fire quite early on. Jamie Stanley illegally intervened to slam Taylor's shoulder in the post. I bet that made it worse. Alonso took control. There was a bit more of a rally from Taylor, but again, there was more interference from Stanley to hook Taylor's foot. Alonso connected the super kick and the rolling cutter, and seriously, if that wasn't a free count, it was like 2-9-9-9-9.
Yeah, so close, so close.
And then Alonso finally finished off with an armbar and advanced to tonight, again, as you say, the scramble match to earn a shot at Kerry Morton. That match for me was really, really, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I really, both of those guys are phenomenal. I actually tweeted last night, I was like, love Alex Taylor, love to hate Joe Alonso. Like, I love both of them. I really rate them. They're super talented. I think both of them are, I love them both in terms of their abilities and their skill. I think Joe Alonso's an arrogant twat in the nicest possible sense of the word. He is absolutely someone I love to hate, but I love watching him do his thing because I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, me too. Crockett Cup second round. Ricky, Kerry Morton. So we just spoke about Kerry Morton, but Ricky and Kerry were against Toxic and Ares, who won earlier on the pre-show. Now this match was I think Kerry was getting increasingly cocky as this match went on. I felt as if he was getting, getting a bit more cockier, hit his knee finisher, but he didn't go for the cover. And I started thinking, you're going to end up.
Yeah, I thought he was going to end up in trouble last night.
Yeah, I thought he was going to end up costing the match. Now, it started to get a little bit hectic. And at one point, Kerry went to grab his title. Ricky took it away. But as the referee tried to restore order, out of nowhere, Ricky Morton blasted Ares and turned heel with his son. They made the cover. They got the win. Ricky explained that at the end of this, that he actually paved the way in wrestling, and he feels that he's been spit on. And his last words were, quite frankly, hell with that.
Yeah.
Shocking turn. Was you surprised by it?
That totally caught me off guard. You mentioned earlier that you thought Kerry was a bit cocky, and he certainly is. He's quite an arrogant young man, to be honest with you. He's got a belt though, and he's got a championship, and that kind of comes with the territory. Ricky's always seemed pretty chilled and pretty laid back and a fair guy. So I was kind of like, what's going on? Like, so yeah, interesting, because I think at one point I thought it was maybe going to be a wee bit of dissension in the ranks between the two of them, and they were maybe going to, because I was like, maybe Kerry's going to turn on his dad or whatever about it. So it totally went a completely different direction than I was thinking it was going to go. So yeah, I was caught off guard with that completely.
I was like, I kind of went, holy shit, I think I said. I have a habit of saying that quite a lot, especially with unexpected heel turns or things like that. It certainly caught me off guard. We move on. Second round again, the Clowns were back, and they were taking on, so Yarbo and Ruffo, they were taking on Tom Latimer and Rhett Titus, who, again, I was predicting them getting quite far in the competition.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, and you can tell by the sentence that I was predicting, and Fiona said me too, that you could probably guess
the outcome of that one.
Well, yeah, they were literally, I mean, but to be honest, and I will say this, Latimer and Titus in this match, even though, you know, they didn't win. So the 21 seeds, Yarbo and Ruffo defeated defeated Tom Latimer, Titus. I will say this, Latimer and Titus showed why they are absolute a cut above. You know,
unbelievable, and hence the name of their tag team. They are called a cut above.
They literally are, and that's why I put it in my notes, just a bit of a pun.
I love Rhett Titus. There's no secret what I think of Tom. I think Tom's phenomenal. I would love to see Tom. I think Tom deserves a shot at the £10 of gold. I think Tom would be a phenomenal champion, and down the line, I really, really hope he gets that.
So, Billy,
but that result last night,
shocking.
Completely.
So, and just so, Billy, you heard Fiona wants you to book that £10 of gold match.
Yes,
There you go. You heard it here first. And when we know the end of it, we know they watched it when you're on here. So there you go. There's the match to book. Basically, the end of the match anyway. Yarbo rode under the rope to trip Titus. Ruffo landed on top of him to win. He went for a body, I think when he picked up for a body slam or something along those lines. But anyway, upset. 21 seeds.
Huge upset.
Huge. Camille come out afterwards, but you've kind of sort of hit on this. Yeah, you've kind of hit on this. She come out of the ring and said, "Look, focus on what's important, which is a 10."
She is the best hype woman for her man ever. Like the best hype woman for her man.
Yes.
She is obviously our World's Women's Champion.
Yes.
She has a huge match this evening on night 2 against Natalia Markova.
Yes.
She is my one-time NWA Women's Champ.
There you go. And yeah, I mean, pretty much she's a workhorse champion as well. So that should be. I think, did they not wrestle on Power a while back?
They've wrestled before, yeah.
Yes. Also,
I mean, don't get me wrong, Markova, absolutely. She's worked so hard to get this shot. I am Team Camille all the way, and I will always be Team Camille. Absolute queen. I love her.
There you go. So again, anyone watching this, that she wants Camille to win tonight, please. I don't want to disappoint. I don't want a disappointed Fiona on that podcast. Anyway, we move on. The next AAA guys, Octagon Junior and is it Mistez Junior?
Mistez, I think. That's another one I wasn't quite sure. Mistez Junior, yeah.
So, like I say, myself and names, I'm not very good at pronunciation when it comes to these AAA New Japan ones. So I do apologise if I absolutely butcher the names of the wrestlers here. It's not through any type of me disrespecting them at all. I just not very good at pronouncing it. Hence why Dave does it on AEW for me. So anyway, initially the power of Jax and Blake were too much in the early doors of this match anyway. Ended up suicide dive onto Dane and Chris Silvio later on in the match, which allowed Octagon to pin Troop to get through. Slightly surprising, not in the bracket sense, but again, in terms of the fact that Jax and Blake are big powerhouses, and you know, in terms of generally when you get a powerhouse and luchadors, the powerhouses get the result, but not today.
Yeah, no, I know. I think that was another surprising one for me as well, to be honest with you. I thought the Savages might have gone through on that one, but
yeah,
I love watching Octagon Junior and Mistezes though. They're phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But it's a strange kind of combination of the two big guys and the two kind of more luchador style wrestling.
Yeah.
And I think you do expect the kind of powerhouses to win, but it just shows you that that's not always the case.
Well, again, we'll just stop there. That sidewinding Rey Mysterio is a prime example of that. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And these guys, I mean, these AAA guys are crazy. So and they are very good to watch. But blink and you miss them.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Hardcore War was next.
And it was.
It absolutely was. Again, not part of the Crockett Cup. This is a separate match. Samantha Starr, Ruthie J, Missy Kate, and Maddie Rankowski. Yeah.
Rankowski. So M95, Maddie and Misa are the women's tag team champions just now. So Ruthie J came in to step in place of Rosa Negra.
Yes,
who
injured, car accident.
Been in a car accident, yeah. So she was back home, I think, in Puerto Rico. Is it Puerto Rico? I think she's from. I can't remember. So she'd been in a car crash. So Ruthie J had come in and kind of stepped into her place alongside Samantha Starr as well.
She did,
and with her mum Baby Doll, who is obviously an NWA legend.
She certainly is indeed, and we send our best to La Rosa Negra. Car accidents. I mean, wrestling injuries are bad enough, but when you come out of the squared circle and it's a totally different injury, we hope anyway you're recovering well, and we hope to see you back on NWA soon. Right. Yeah, a commentary did say that she's doing okay, which is good to hear. But anyway, Wild War, chairs, hockey sticks, billy clubs, white powder,
gasoline cans.
Let me just rephrase, not the white powder that you would think Christ will get taken off the air. Anyway, the format was one-on-one elimination style.
Yeah, so with pretty empowered, you never know what you're going to get as well. So they are quite a formidable foursome as well between Roxy, Ella, Kenzie and Kylie. So they are an interesting, tough girls to beat, I think. Yeah. They
certainly are. Basically, the Baby Doll passed to the coal miner's glove, Star, that is. Star wrapped her fist with a chain. It's come down to Star and Envy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Come down to Star and Envy. Star wrapped her fist with a chain. Baby Doll passed Envy the coal miner's glove. But it was a loaded punch to Envy that won. Yeah. Well, see, we talk about women's wrestling a lot on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, and we say that it needs to have it had this big high. It started to come down a little bit because they weren't getting their time again. This right here proves if you have the right women in any match and you give them time, they can create magic.
I love the NWA women's division.
Yeah.
They're young, they're talented, and every single one of them are super, super hungry.
Yes.
The women's division in NWA is phenomenal and absolutely one that you should not sleep on. No, they're absolutely phenomenal. Every single one of those girls in that match, I have watched multiple times. Ruthie J obviously has been brought in. I don't know much about her. What I saw, I liked.
Yeah.
And I think she'll be great if she stays on or whatever with them. But yeah, the whole women's locker room in NWA is phenomenal. From the top right down to the newer faces that have come in recently.
Couldn't agree more with what I've watched of NWA recently. They certainly are a level above from what I've seen. And again, loving the fact that they're giving the women time, because ultimately there is so much talent in women's division everywhere, but it just doesn't always get that. Basically, it doesn't even have to be a war. It just didn't get what they got last night. If you give women that, they will put on that show, and these girls put on an amazing.
Oh, they put on that was phenomenal last night.
An absolute fight. That's what I like to see.
I wore exactly what it said on the tin.
Exactly. It didn't disappoint. Right. So next round was back to the Crockett Cup. Now it was seed 3. Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch. I love this team.
Yeah.
These two are absolute units. I saw them I think it was on Power last week. I'm sure they was. Anyway, and they
Trevor
took
with
on
his new jacket last night as well. Yeah, looking good.
Yeah. Trevor with his new jacket. They took on Magnum Muscle, Dak Draper, and Big Strong Mims, who qualified earlier on, if you remember. They did indeed. They put up a fight, but they were never going to get past these guys, were they?
I don't. Yeah. Magnum Muscle are great. I love watching the two of them. Mims has been around NWA, particularly this year. I think he was in the very first match of the very first Power. So Mims has been here for a long time. He's talented. Dak Draper's super talented as well. But I told you earlier on, I can't see past Knox and Murdoch right now. I really can't.
You know what, I did choose earlier on Tyrus and Adonis, but that is somewhat. These are two Knox, and I mean they are 2 and 3 seeds. The only other one really being Larabellion, but I mean these guys. It ended up with anyway. Captain Bardas and the Outlaw executed Mims on a high-low crushing combo to get them through to the next round of the Corckett Cup, which is as we all say, it is tonight. So we will be watching that. I will certainly be watching it tomorrow. I have an early start in the morning, so I may have to watch it tomorrow, but I'll be reviewing it.
I'm going to go nap after this, and I'm getting back up.
This
hardcore.
This is what I mean, right? Our queen, she's hardcore warrior. She'll go sleep for a few hours, and she'll be in front of that telly with the team, with the tweet that you're watching NWA.
And I'll be regretting it at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning when I'm sitting in my office at work with my eyes down to here, like.
Whereas I'll be fresh, ready to watch it during my day on my travels. I'll be watching it. We'll move on to now. This is it. So this was my team, Tyrus and Adonis, C2. First time we've seen them in the tournaments. Obviously, as Fiona mentioned, first seeds got by. They took the 15 seeds, which was Judias and Max the Impaler, which again they qualified earlier on from round 2. But they didn't get the win clean, though, did they? It was a DQ.
No, I have mixed feelings on the whole thing that went down with this match. With neither Adonis or Tyrus seemingly really want to go up against Max the Impaler.
No.
Max is a formidable opponent. They are strong. They are slightly scary. They are a joy to watch. I think Max is a phenomenal talent, and I love watching them. But it didn't really seem to. There wasn't enough wrestling in this match for me, for my liking, and I hate to say this, but that was my disappointment of the evening. Yeah.
I agree. I'm not a fan, especially in tournaments. I'm not a fan of DQ finishes anyway. I think they should be, ultimately they should have a clean finish. But it didn't. It was a DQ, as you say. He pushed the referee. Max the Impaler shoved the ref, and he DQ'd him. And that put Tyrus and Adonis through to the next round. Natalia Markova come out, doesn't dwell on the past. She sets her goals, and she reckons she's going to prove it against Camille tonight. We will see. We will see.
One take champ.
There you go. We're not going to get Fiona to go for Markova.
I'll be so disappointed if this does not go my way.
I don't even want to know what this podcast is going to be like tomorrow if she doesn't get the result. Now we move on to a very interesting encounter. This was a semi-main event of the night. The NWA National Heavyweight Champion, my good buddy, EC3, who was on this show a couple of weeks ago, and we were literally just in a trance listening to
He's phenomenal.
Oh my God. One of the most...
such a good wrestling mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. He's so... Sounds weird because you see him on the like NWA and that, but he's so softly spoken on an interview, and it's just, I just remember just sitting there, and I had to ask a question. I nearly forgot because I was so enthralled in what he was saying. Anyway, he was against Thrillbilly Silas Mason, who brought in our good friend Paulo Demar as well.
I love Thrillbilly. The world needs more Thrillbilly Silas Mason, and that man needs championship gold. That's it. He needs gold.
Billy, your British booker has spoken. Scottish, sorry.
No, Scottish. Never mind, it's fine.
Anyway, there was a headlock driver early doors. But instead of going for the win, he went for the belt. EC3. So he was going to intend to use it. Obviously, Polo grabbed the title to protect Thrillbilly. And then all of a sudden, Silas was charging with a big boot and he clobbered poor Polo. He was in shock initially. I know. He was in shock initially. Literally a roll-up pin for EC3. But then, when you would think that Silas would go and, you know, pick up Polo or anything like that, no. He stepped over her body. What are you doing?
Like, I was literally like... Silas literally walked over the top of her and up the stairs and off he went. And off he went. Left her lying there.
Like, yeah.
I just... Silas, come on, that's your girl. What are you playing at? Silas. Poor Pollo.
Absolutely unbelievable, Silas.
I hope you better today, Pollo. Like, that looked really nasty. So from me personally, get better soon. I'm so sorry he did that to you. That is not okay. And I hope you have words with him.
And I believe we heard the word neck brace being used today for Pollo.
Well, I am aware of, I have a friend who's actually at the cup this weekend and said that he did see Pollo at the fan fest with a neck brace on. So get well soon, Pollo.
Please get well soon. Hopefully, again, we talk about injuries, we don't like them, but you know, hopefully if there is any injury there, Pollo, that you get better soon.
Yeah.
Okay, it was main event time. This main event didn't disappoint at all.
It didn't also start the way I expected it to.
Yes.
So it kind of started off a little bit, oh, what's going on here?
Bodder was injured at the start. So Flip started to wrestle alone. He wrestled valiantly. Followed a limp to the ring. He whacked La Rebellion with his kendo stick. The referee did not call. That was interesting though. Referee didn't call the disqualification for that.
Yeah.
He was
and
ejecting.
That was multiple scalps across. I think he got them both twice across the head.
Yeah. And then he was focusing on the Angelina Love. Vampiro, Fiona.
Appears out of nowhere. That was totally unexpected. Like, I was just like, what?
What is going on here? Vampiro. I haven't seen this guy in years. And again, this is why I like NWA, things like this. I mean, other companies have done it with other, you know, Carlito and Savio Vega and people like that. But one of my guys in WCW was Vampiro. So I popped for this.
You're not the only one.
We don't quite know what his motive is about this. And anyway, La Rebellion goes on to win.
Yeah.
Match with the frog splash on Gordon. They looked as though they didn't trust him though at this point.
Yeah, I noticed like Mecha Wolf was just like the whole time just didn't really seem to take his eyes off him. So that's I'm intrigued. I'm guessing they weren't really sure what was going on either. But hey, a win's a win. So and
it's
they are
Vampiro.
the champions. So
and it's Vampiro.
And it's Vampiro. Yeah, obviously.
It's Vampiro of all people. That wrapped up, and that does wrap up night one. But before we wrap up, you know the brackets for tonight.
I know the brackets for tonight. So we have got, and I don't obviously know the lineup in the order, but you've got seed number 1, which is La Rebellion, going up against seed 8, which is Blunt Force Trauma.
Yeah.
And they will face the winner of seed number 2, Titus and Adonis, versus seed number 10, Kratos and Odinson.
Uh-oh. Wow.
Oh, no, sorry. I've got that completely wrong.
Oh.
No, sorry. My bad. I'm looking at it the wrong way. So seed number 1, La Rebellion, versus seed number 8, Blunt Force Trauma.
Okay.
Will go up against seed number 4, which is Octagon Jr. or Mestez's Jr.
Yeah.
Or seed 21, which is Yabo and Ruffle.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting.
So that's an interesting one. For me, I reckon it's going to be La Rebellion going through. I think it's going to be the Clowns.
You and clowns. You like clowns or something?
I don't like clowns. This is the problem. I don't like clowns, and I think the world's conspiring against me to just have them on the telly as much as possible. I am scared of clowns. I'm a weirdo like that. But I think it's going to be La Rebellion over BFT and Yabo and Ruffle over Octagon Jr. and Mestez's Jr.
Wow.
That's that side. On the other side of the brackets, you've then got seed 2, which is Titus and Adonis, versus seed 10, Kratos and Odinson. I can't call that one.
No, it's
I
not.
can't call that one. Like, I just can't. They are both two huge, strong teams. Personally, I'd like to see Kratos and Odinson go over on this one, but
Yeah.
I guess we just need to find out. But either way, the winner of that match will take on the winner of Seed 3, which is Mike Knox, and Trevor Murdoch.
Wow.
Trevor Murdoch.
Trevor
There's
Knox
Seed
and Mike
3.
Murdoch.
Yeah. Close. Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch. They're Seed 3 against Kerry and Ricky Morton, who are Seed 6.
Wow.
I want Knox and Murdoch to go through on this one. That's my person. But we saw what happened with Kerry and Ricky last night and the little heel turn, and we now know that Ricky's okay with playing dirty, and I know that Kerry's okay with playing dirty when he needs to.
And he just.
So this is an interesting one, but I am Team Knox and Murdoch on this one.
Yeah,
regardless.
I was too. Yeah, exactly that. I love Knox and Murdoch as well. I'm still rooting for Tyrus and Adonis, but Knox and Murdoch. Other than again, and what is Vampiro back tonight? That's the thing.
Vampiro back. I'm pretty sure he will be. I don't know, but that's your cup brackets for this evening.
There's your cup brackets.
You've also got your women's championship match, so you've got
Markova versus Camille.
Markova, yeah. You've also got your scramble match as well.
Yes.
For your #1 contendership for
Kerry.
Junior heavyweight championship. Belt. And I think, is there anything? I'm just trying to remember what else there is tonight. There will be other matches, but off the top of my head, I'm having a mental block, so that's not good.
Let me see if I can just find that out very quickly while we're on there.
Absolutely rooting for Camille for this women's championship match. Although, like I said earlier, Markova absolutely deserves this shot. She has worked tirelessly and hard, and I think she will be a good opponent for Camille.
Yeah.
She's strong, she's fast. But Camille's Camille, and all hail the Queen.
All hail the Queen. Yes, there is one more match, and it is a 6-way, by the way. The scramble for your. Okay. But Kenzie Page is defending the television championship against a yet to be known opponent.
Okay. Interesting.
Mystery. Surrounded in mystery as we go into day 2. Mystery of who's going to win. Mystery of who's going to win the Corckett Cup. Mystery of if Vampiro is going to be there. Who's going to be Kenzie's opponent?
Who was the masked man with Sion last night?
Who was the masked man? Look, we can only find out tonight. You will be, and I appreciate we're getting close. So I want you to go and get some sleep, Fiona. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Fiona, for night one roundup of the NWA podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with night 2. Suffice to say, it's going to be brilliant. Fiona's excited. I'm excited. Guys, this has been the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with night 2. Until then, have a great night. Guys, have a great show at NWA. I'm sure you will. And we'll be back tomorrow with the review. Good night.